What is up, my dudes and dudettes? Behind that camera is Colleen and I am Todd, and you may be noticing things look a little bit different today. We are on location, driving back from our Thanksgiving holiday, and we decided to stop in some of these beautiful places and talk about our favorite van tools we've used so far. This is Todd's top 10 tools for early stage van building.
Todd's top 10 tools for early stage van building, 'cause it's Todd's top 10 tools for building that van of your dreams.
Let's go ahead and get into it with number one. We are just outside Las Vegas, or Lost Wages, as my grandpa used to joke, and I'm standing next to Mr. Joshua Tree, who's gonna help introduce our first tool, which are hole saws. You're gonna be drilling a bunch of holes in your van, so that's something you'll want to get accustomed to. And my favorite tool for the job is these hole saws made by ATI. These are precision ground high-speed steel, and they're made for specifically cutting through thin sheet metal. I absolutely love these. I know they're a bit expensive though, so my alternate suggestion would be this one here, made by Rock Hard Tools. This is a 10 tooth per inch fine tooth hole saw. It's gonna cut much better than these guys that you get at the local hardware store that are only about 6 teeth per inch. I'll link all of these in the description below. Our next stop is Mount Potosi Canyon Trail. And speaking of drilling, you're gonna be drilling a bunch of holes in your van, so you might wanna get yourself a cordless drill. Our favorite is the DeWalt 20 volt max. We chose this system mostly because the battery supports a wide range of tools for future use. And if I had to pick one drill for the job, I might actually go with the right angle drill from DeWalt, because this is a lot more versatile for drilling in tight spaces, which you will encounter when working on your van. The only thing to keep in mind is this has a 3/8 inch chuck where the normal drill has 1/2 inch, so it's a little bit more versatile in that regard. We're about 30 minutes from the entrance of Death Valley National Park. And speaking of death, converting a van without trim removal tools is most certain death for your fingertips. These are pretty cheap, you can buy them on Amazon. I'll go ahead and link the ones that I bought in the description below. On to the next stop, let's go. We made it to Death Valley and our next location. This is the 20 Mule Team Canyon, and what better place to introduce our next tool? The heat gun. Get it? Death Valley, it's hot here. This is a heat gun, that's what it does. Anyways, we found this perfectly suited for shrink tubing, which you'll use a lot on your electrical, as well as softening adhesives. We removed some of the factory sound deadener, as well as the moisture barrier on the door. Now, I'm not sure if I'm completely sold on the battery pack version. This does eat batteries quite a bit, so I'll go ahead and put a link to the corded version as well as this one in the description below. Now on to our next location and our next tool. I'll see you there. I don't know if you can see this behind me here, but that's water in Death Valley. That is something you don't see every day. And you want to know what else you don't see every day, at least in other van videos, is this guy. This is our Brady M210 labeling machine, and we love this thing. We love to label all our wires and everything that we're doing inside the van because it makes it serviceable and helps if anyone ever buys this in the future, they know exactly where everything is. This is a little bit overkill, but one of our favorite tools, so we thought we'd include it in the video here. We are by the famous Borax mines. What does that have to do with our next tool? Well, nothing. This is one of our favorites. It is our Rivnut setter. We're using Rivnuts everywhere in our van, and we couldn't do it without this tool. Well, actually, we probably could, but it would be a heck of a lot slower. We also chose to go with the pull type Rivnut setter. You can have some problems with the ones that set them by spinning, so we went with the PRN1 by Astro Pneumatics. We'll go ahead and link this in the description below as well. On to the next location. All right, this may be a bit of a stretch, but you see the Mesquite dunes behind me here? Those kind of look like the little mounds of Sikaflex 252 and window weld when we are caulking them onto the van, which brings us to our next tool, the automatic caulking gun. I didn't get this until a little bit later in our van build, but let me tell you, it is so much better. We got the DeWalt one because, as before, we've committed to this battery system. It's a little bit more expensive than a manual caulking gun, but it is freaking awesome. Anyways, on to the next location and the next tool. All right, friends, we are now standing smack dab in the middle of Yosemite Valley. Words cannot describe how much I love this place, and this gigantic granite cliff face that you see behind me here is none other than the infamous El Capitan. I know this shot is a little bit small, but I wanted to capture the sheer magnitude of this thing, and I can maybe use some video editing magic to zoom in on the next tool on our list, which is the 0 to 30 volt DC 10 amp adjustable power supply. This thing is absolutely critical for testing your low amperage circuits. These are things like your max fan, your lights, your USB plugs, before your house battery goes in and before the wall panels go up. Now, if I could go back in time, I would probably snag a 20 amp version of this so I could also use it to test the S-bar heaters. I've been using a different power supply for that, but it's nice for new builders to have a one size fits all. So I'll go ahead and put links to both of those in the description below. On to our next location, but for now, enjoy the view. Oh, and by the way, if you have eagle eyes, I don't know if you can see, but there are little tents and climbers ascending the face of this thing, which is kind of cool. All right, enjoy the view again. We are halfway between Yosemite National Park and our home in Marin County, California, and we are going to cheat a little bit on this next tool because it's more of a category than a single tool, and that is wire crimpers. You are going to be using these a lot, and our favorite kit for general purpose crimping is this one by Wirefy. You actually get a stripper cutter here, some boxes to put different crimps in, and then you get this crimper down here that has these swappable heads for all your crimping needs. Next up is the big boy. This is the Temco TH1818. This is for your lugged connections. I like this hydraulic version best because it's small for the toolbox, but I heard the lever ones from this same company are great, so you might want to check those out. Next up is this little crimper. This is for the barrel connections on the DT plugs that we're using all over our van. The reason why I mentioned this one is because it's the cheapest one I've been able to find for this application. The other ones are hundreds of dollars, and this is only 20 bucks, so that is a great deal. And lastly, we use this on the audio system install. This is a barrel connector kit from the company Sumline. It's a really great kit. You have all the barrels in there as well as the crimper. All right, time to move on to our next location, which is finally making it home. All right, friends, we finally made it home to Marin County, California. You can tell because the iconic Mount Tam, I guess it's not back there today. The weather's not that great, but usually Mount Tam is kind of in this area. Anyways, if you've been following our channel, this one should come as no surprise. The last tool on the list is our beloved Airsaw. We absolutely love this thing. It is the perfect tool for cutting holes in your van. This includes those for windows and your flares. And we actually recently used this to remove a structural member from the bottom of the van. There'll be more on that later, so you'll want to stay tuned for that video. You can use a jigsaw instead, and this does require compressed air, but we find that this is a much more versatile tool and you have a lot more dexterity for those cuts. If you like what we are doing, please give us a thumbs up. If you have other tools that you're using on your own van, we would love to hear about those. Drop those in the comments section below. And on your way down there, you know what to do. Slap that subscribe button. We'll see you next time.
Todd's Top 10 Tools for Early Stage Van Building, 'cause it's Todd's Top 10 Tools for Building that van of your dreams.
Let's go ahead and get right in with it. Get right in with it. Get right in.